Hi, my name is Bob Britting. I'm the president of Health Initiatives. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a new approach to defining and driving the patient journey, an inclusive dynamic that can only be personalized for each individual patient or groups of patients. Segmentation is critical because, frankly, what's good for one patient is not likely to be good for another. In fact, it's impossible to attach just one patient journey to all patients. Ian Fleming of James Bond fame once said, "Today's news is tomorrow's fish wrap." Well, Health Initiatives does in fact offer something that is new, and it won't be used as fish wrap the next day. It's about a new way to view the patient journey, and it's the missing link that could be costing you 42% of the market opportunity revenues. I'm asking you to just take a few minutes to do something called opening one's aperture, or one's lens, so to speak, to a whole new way of thinking and engaging consumers and patients and opening up new markets. What are market opportunity revenues? It means different things to different people. I'll give you our view. But first, to put in perspective who we are and add some credibility to our thinking, let me give you a very brief background. Health Initiatives works with healthcare marketers, sales professionals, and senior administration, including middle management and C-level, to assist in developing their communications architecture, strategies, behavioral engagement, their outreach programs to healthcare professionals and consumers. Our focus over the last 5 to 6 years on developing efficient and effective tactics, including the most advanced behavioral engagement and process tools for the pharmaceutical companies, has created a client base of renowned pharmaceutical companies in 6 different disease categories. Back to market opportunity revenues. Basically, it's the total amount of money for which you and your competitors compete in a specific disease category. The issue, however, is that the opportunity revenue market is always underestimated, and I mean substantially. It's a category that has not yet been tapped into, leaving the patient to take the journey all alone. At Health Initiatives, we have identified engagement tools necessary for messages to truly resonate with a large market previously ignored. And importantly, it can be structured and measured using analytics, algorithms, and models. One of the many things that we do. Let's say, for example, your patient revenue market opportunity is $10 billion. All of these patients should be on a journey, but they're not. There's tons of data supporting the fact that customer receptivity, uptake, and adherence is a regular problem. In this scenario, and under the current thinking, you would be only tapping into 4.2 billion and maybe $5 billion of the total patient journey of $10 billion. You're likely missing more than $4.2 billion simply because your communication strategy doesn't resonate with that quote-unquote untouched constituency. In our proprietary studies, on average, more than 75% of the patients either seek or need guidance from healthcare professionals and companies and associations when diagnosed with a condition or a disease. But only 4 out of 10 are absorbing support and the directional messaging. The remainder are usually making decisions on their own. Truly understanding behavioral nuances is really the best answer for companies looking to actually expand revenue opportunities. In order to really have a strong chain of communications, the healthcare professional must also be able to translate the emotional messaging to the patient to be effective. That's not something our industry does very well or very often. Using variations of our proprietary techniques, our clients have maintained and even grown share, but importantly, they grew market volume as well. It's a no-lose situation for them. They simply grew share within the increased market revenue opportunity. To help these patients navigate the critical patient journey and open up new markets, one has to move completely away from the comfort zone and traditional way of marketing to a whole new way of thinking about emotional engagement. Let me take you through 2 very real scenarios of patients. The question we're really trying to answer is what really drives patients to comply with a drug and a lifestyle change? Let's call the first patient John a complier. He's a male in his 60s. He was diagnosed with moderate to severe hypertension. He's also a microcosm of patients whose wiring allowed him to actually enjoy a solid patient journey. He was wired to be a complier. It was in his DNA to follow a medical professional's instructions, no questions asked. However, another patient, let's call him Pete, had an orphan disease called hereditary angioedema, a condition in layman's terms that means blood vessels are leaking. sometimes causing the fluids to collect in the patient's neck, blocking breathing, resulting in a 30% chance of dying according to clinical studies. Pete did not respond to 20 years of pharmaceutical company fact-based intercepts or engagement. Back to John, he ate healthy, took medications, and exercised on a regular basis. It was part of his makeup to follow what clinical direction he was given. That was 5 years ago, and he's still going strong, and it only took one single solitary intercept. The ROI was phenomenal. Pete's life, however, was in constant jeopardy, uncertainty, anxiety for him and his family. He didn't respond to literally hundreds of fact-based engagements by the medical professional and by the pharmaceutical company as well. That changed, but it took one intercept of emotional engagement. In this case, it had to do with love and security for his son and his wife. He made a complete 180. This experience was duplicated with hundreds of patients and became the basis for the entire emotional engagement strategy by the pharmaceutical company that increased sales by 89%. And not for a single penny more, just a change in direction. Understanding the wiring is truly half the game. Many patients, consumers, and caregivers respond because they're wired to respond that way. Many don't because they're wired to respond to emotional engagement, for example. Of course, each disease and condition deserves its own consideration, but there must be a much deeper and more profound understanding of the emotional state of mind of patients to reach them at the more cerebral level. In our opinion, emotions, tactical proclivity, demography, psychographic activity should not be just some line item in a creative brief, especially when it comes to emotional component. They are the opportunity to grow the brand at considerable rates if done right. But most importantly, these patients can get on the right track and enjoy the journey that will bring them to a better quality of life and reduce morbidity and mortality rates. It just takes stepping out of that proverbial box. QPAC helps ensure you reach the entire audience, not just a small percentage. Our proprietary algorithms and models are customized to the disease and the condition and your brand. There's nothing like it. Thank you for your valuable time. We hope it was informative.